This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
And James Teague joining us right now from the Teague Law Firm, former Arkansas pitcher. And we appreciate you. James, I missed you last week. I was doing the women's basketball game in the SEC tournament, but I am here at what I will assume is one of your favorite locations in the state of Arkansas, if not your favorite location, Baum-Walker Stadium, watching the guys get in their pre-workout stretching routine. And it's a week before the SEC play starts. So, you know, what makes the weekend before the beginning of SEC play different than any of the other non-conference weekends?
Hey, Phil. It's great to be on the show. You can kind of feel the pressure mounting, I would say. You know that the time has come where conference is about to start and things really get serious. So it's really about, tidying up, really wanting to have good appearances, knowing that when you start next week, it's go time.
Yeah, and it better be go time this weekend, too, against Louisiana Tech. Did you ever, Bubba and I talk about this on the broadcast, and you can't necessarily view it this way as a player or even the coaches, because they're trying to win games. You're trying to, solidify a spot and also win games. But you don't get spring training in college baseball, and it's a short ramp-up of like 3 weeks when official practice starts to when the games begin. So was there ever in your mind, now you went to, real professional spring training, so you know what that felt like, but was there ever in your mind like, this is sort of like our spring training, like the first weekend, the first 2 weekends of the season? Because those games apparently are supposed to count just as much as any of the others, but you're still kind of working your way through things.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I think you hit the nail on the head there, because you're coming in, you're excited, and you're kind of amped up, but at the same time, you're not super conditioned. You haven't had a lot of real game experience. So you've got to work through those jitters and work through those, early season issues quickly because, like you said, the turnaround is fast for when conference play really begins.
What was the toughest thing for you as a pitcher to, that you needed some time before things were where you felt you liked them to be?
Man, it really varies. For me, just the cold weather was a big deal. We've seen some injuries happen already, and is it cold weather? Is it early? Is it conditioning? Is it mechanics? It's really hard to say. But I always got loose so much quicker. I felt so much better. I threw so much harder. Later in the year when it was warm. So early season, not only is it early, not only do you not have the experience, but also the cold weather is a bigger factor than maybe some people realize.
James, how much scouting do you do for your opponents in the non-conference based on the conference play? Does it ramp up a little bit, or how do you pitch each individual batter? Do you have scouting reports on these guys?
Yeah, so we'll get scouting reports, in the locker room. They'll send a paper around. It'll be people's tendencies. I think they've gotten even more complex now with the analytics have really picked up. But, a typical scouting report would be, like this guy, let's say leadoff likes to attack early, work him away, work him in later in the count, susceptible to the breaking ball, work breaking ball down. It would be, minor things that would give you an idea of, where can I beat this guy? If my strength is a good breaking ball and his weakness is he chases, the coach is probably going to attack with a breaking ball in this guy, and you kind of know that going in.
Did they have all that video stuff that they have right now when you played? Like I watched you for a couple of years, and I don't remember as much video. And really, it's only been like 9 years.
With the iPads, Phil, is that what you mean? Like they go back and they're looking right away there, yeah?
Well, I mean, if you've ever been in the Hunt Center, James, and this the Kenna tracks that they have where you can really just focus on a pitcher's delivery, it's like the greatest pitching toy on earth. The technology has just jumped up so much, even since you pitched here.
Yeah, I think 2015 may as well have been the Stone Age in terms of technology, and Matt, you can probably attest to that too. It's some of the new, developments and technology on the football side, but it's really crazy just how fast the game progresses and moves along. And looking like you said, 9-10 years ago, things are very different.
But the one thing that no matter what, all the technology and all the things that are supposed to help clean up a pitcher's delivery, it's a position that is just made for injuries. And sometimes I feel like there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, it's not just Arkansas. I mean, it happens all across the SEC. It happens all across college baseball. Some teams more than others, depending on the year. It feels random. But it's like, I would just imagine like any pitcher in the back of his mind knows that sometime down the line, you're gonna, that ligament might snap. It's just that's a mindset I've never had before, and I don't know if a lot of us know what that feels like.
Yeah, that is a scary part of it, because I think you've seen as guys have gotten stronger, as they've started throwing harder, as they've started training more and being more consistent, just to throw and throw and throw, that we have seen more injuries. I think for a lot of these guys, though, they're trying to make it to the top. They want to be an SEC starter. They want to be in the big leagues. If they get injured along the way, so be it. I know that's how I was. If it happens, it happens. But I'm gonna push the limits until it does happen. And I think that's where most guys are. And Matt, you can probably attest to this too. Guys working out in football training. They're going to train hard. They're going to squat heavy. They're going to try to get big and strong, and they want to maximize every ounce of talent or potential that they've got. I think baseball and pitching is really no different. It's just the downside is you have some injuries with that.
If it was easy, everybody would do it. James, I don't know anybody that didn't put in extra time that made it to the top. You got to put in extra time and work, whether it be film. Just there's all different ways to go about it, but you got to. It's not easy, or we'd all be doing it.
Yeah,
James. The way that you bring this up, that you talk about the injuries, somebody, I think it was a week or a couple of weeks ago, and some of these injuries started happening to the Arkansas pitching staff. They posited the idea that part of it is the way that pitchers are being trained as young pitchers, kind of before they even make it to Arkansas, trained towards throwing as hard as you can, trained towards velocity, and they're bigger and stronger athletes now than they were even 20 years ago. What another thought that this person had was that too many pitchers are trying to throw 100% instead of 90%, 85%. We hear those percentages thrown out sometimes, like you can actually control the effort between 90 and 100%. Did you ever in the back of your mind think, yeah, maybe early in the season I gotta try to pitch at 80 or 85%, or was it always just it's I don't know if I'd say throw every pitch as hard as you can, but what it's like. You got to buy into every pitch. So yeah. It's I hear that. I'm I don't know. It's I think of pitchers, they're I just got to buy into every pitch, finish every pitch.
For me, it's more about the volume of your throwing and less about maybe the intensity of your throwing. 200 throws is going to add up, a lot quicker than 10 at 100%. If you're warmed up and you're not cold and you're ready to go. I think the conditioning side of it is less about, how hard you're trying to throw and more about how many throws have you had this day, how many throws have you had this week, how are you throwing bullpens, how are you warming up, how are you recovering after your outings. All of those things I think are a much bigger indicator of injury, or just mechanics, being mechanically prone to injury than necessarily how hard you're trying to throw. So that's kind of a roundabout answer, but for guys who are trying to make it and trying to succeed, if you're not pushing for velocity and you're not getting everything out of you, the guy next to you will be, and maybe he doesn't get hurt and he makes it and you don't. So it's really a two-edged sword, because you got to push the limits to make it. But if you push the limits, sometimes you get injured. So it's a really hard give and take.
That's what I was going to ask next, James, is how honest are you? How honest are all these guys? Because it is so competitive. You might be sore. You might be hurt. Maybe you should take the Thursday off. Maybe you shouldn't throw. But you know that if you don't go out there, somebody else is going to go out there. And if they get an opportunity to succeed, then you're not going to get an opportunity again.
Yeah, I've got a great pro ball story of, showed up to the field through 3 innings the day before, was really sore, told everyone I'm not picking up a baseball today. In the 7th inning, I get the call, I'm back in the game, and I throw 2 more innings. And it's just how it goes some days. Some days you throw up and you just, if you want to make it, you keep pushing along. And I think to give credit to DVH and to Hobbs, I do not think that they push their guys too hard. I think that sometimes you have injuries and it just happens. Like you said, sometimes you can't control it. I think they do a really good job of managing the bullpen, and I would not put any injuries, on the way that guys are working out, on the way the guys are throwing or being overused. Because I can promise you get into pro ball, you're going to get overused way worse than DVH or Hobbs would ever do you, in college.
Yeah, because then you're playing 6-7 games a week. It's a much different situation. And the other thing, we talk about pitch count so often. How many pitches has he thrown, this and that? Really what it is about, I think, in some cases, is about stressful pitches, stressful situations, lengthy at-bats, like an inning where you throw 35 to 40 pitches. That's the kind of thing that can do you in. It's not necessarily like throwing 105 pitches it's not breezing through, but you didn't have any of those innings where you just had to battle. It's more the stressful innings. And that's what I've seen from Hagen Smith, who pitches today for Arkansas. He's had a lot of stressful innings. Now, he's been successful because he's got that really nice-looking low ERA, but this is a pitcher that you hear, so don't try to strike everybody out. Pitch to contact. It seems like it's so much easier said than done. This is how Arkansas gets past or deals with the injuries in the bullpen. Score some more runs. Starters have to go deep, and you know what it's like. The Friday starter, James, sets that tone. They need Hagen Smith to develop now into a 6 to 7, maybe longer starter.
Yeah, absolutely. He is going to have to give some length, because when your starters don't give you length, you have more pressure on the bullpen. You can survive with a thin bullpen, like we may have with injuries or guys who maybe aren't what they thought they were, but you can't do that if your starters don't give you some length. So I think going forward with these injuries in mind, it's become even more imperative to get 5-6 innings out of Smith, to get 5-6 innings out of McIntyre, whoever else starts, and that sets you up to where you only need a couple guys out of the bullpen to deliver. But when when the bullpen's got to cover third inning on, fourth inning on, multiple times a weekend, it can be very difficult, to finish those games strongly.
I just want to paint a quick picture for you here, James, because you've seen this man do this before. Dave Van Horn is right now organizing the equipment in front of the visiting dugout. He's picking up little pieces of trash off of the field in front of that third base dugout. I've never seen a head coach with so much attention to detail on the field. Like later on, if the freshmen don't sweep the dugout the way that he wants, he'll sweep it himself. The guy's amazing.
Yeah, that's true. It's attention to detail, and you better do the small things right. And Matt, you can probably test this too. The small things a lot of times can dictate the entire game. You get so caught up in this guy throws 99 and he's got a great arm, but then, did he hold on runners? Did they not allow him to steal? Did you not allow him to get to second base, to get into scoring position? All of the details really, especially in conference, win or lose games. And I think that's something DVH is really good at, training people for.
Yeah, James, my pops was a coach, and he used to tell us, take care of the little things and the big things that take care of themselves.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good saying.
James, what was the worst thing about being a freshman? Was it sweeping the dugout? Was it tarping the field? What was it?
Well, it's hard to choose. Probably the worst thing was stepping into an environment and not performing well, like here or there, and feeling kind of that, you just kind of let everybody down kind of feeling, probably a little bit of feeling like Gage Wood has right now, coming in, hype, great arm, all the stuff, and not performing the way you want, and having to, kind of face that with your coaches, with your friends, family, everyone. But, you just got to, pick yourself up and move on. You can't pout. You can't feel sorry for yourself, because it's a whole new environment. And if you want the glory of playing at Arkansas, you got to figure out a way to succeed. And that's just the way it is. But that was a tough learning curve as freshmen, but these guys will figure it out.
Well, James won't let you down if you need help with any traffic offenses, DUI, anything dealing with criminal law. I mean, once he was done with his playing career, he stepped right into law school, and now at the Teague Law Firm, help you out with anything family law matters. Criminal laws is what I know you wanted to bring up. Traffic offenses, DUIs, things like that, James.
Yeah, so I've developed a really good network with a lot of the prosecutors in Benton County and Washington County, and that goes all the way up to felony, all the way down to misdemeanors. And so it's great when someone comes in with a criminal law matter, and I know I've got a personal relationship with the prosecutor. I can call their cell phone, and we can start working on the case immediately. Sometimes when you get in a criminal matter, you think, I just need a lawyer who can help me resolve this and, maybe help it kind of go away or help me get this settled. And I think because I have those personal connections with a lot of the prosecutors and really understand the system, that, we can start that process right away. And I think that's something valuable that the firm offers and something that I could bring to the table with the Teague Law Firm.
Call James and the Teague Law Firm at 479-877-1688. You can also visit Teague-law.com. You'll talk to actual lawyers. They will call you back. They'll help you out with criminal law, family law matters, have an estate need. James can help you with that as well. Again, it's 479-877-1688. Online at Teague-law.com. If they can't help you, they'll talk baseball, which we do with James right about now on a Friday every week.
BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting this season. Everything from the NFL and bowl season to esports. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable. We're the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite leagues and events. Head to betonline.ag to join and receive a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Make sure to use the promo code BELIEVE to receive your rewards. That's BLEAV. Bet Online, where the game starts.